Thank you. We welcome Reverend Barbara Schreiner Trudel here today, and I have a quick little biography, although it's very long here. I'm just going to mention that we all know Barbara. She's been here before, a good friend of Unity Kitchener and Unity Ottawa, of course. She began with the spiritual Center for Spiritual Living and Unity Worldwide Ministries, and began her journeys in 1998, and then was the co-founder of the Center for Spiritual Living in Toronto in 2000. Done lots of things since then. She's an amazing human being, gone into lots of stuff, and is a facilitator with Cheryl Rogers for the Spiritual Cafe. So I'll shut my slides down, Reverend Barbara, and you can come on and share with us today. We say welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Marilyn. Yeah, I'm delighted to be here. It's always wonderful to be back in the group. And of course, Cheryl and I just got back from convention, and we had a great time there. The talk today, I named it Adam and Eve, the Divine Beginning. And I did that because I had this awful experience where I went to a funeral, and the minister, who was not of our denomination, actually said that, Adam and Eve did bad stuff, got kicked out of the garden. So I just thought, sometimes we hear these things, and I think there's resistance to religion as a result of some of the ways that it's presented. So we are spiritual here. And what Adam and Eve represent, not the first two people, because hello, they were not. The book, the Bible, the library was not written by God, it was written by man. And so when we put it into perspective, what we discover is that Adam and Eve are the two aspects of humanity, the masculine, the feminine. The masculine is more of that analytical part of us, and the feminine more of the feeling part of us. And both are required to bring us into balance and to create a really marvelous life. So what we're wanting to do is find a way to balance both. Now, in conversation these days, there's all sorts of things about pronouns and what do they mean by them and they, and when it's one person, I don't get it. And I was talking to my sister-in-law, and I said, well, it actually does make sense, because when you think of us as being these two areas, right? The masculine, the feminine, they or them. So I have switched my pronouns to be she and they, just to again illustrate that we are in fact this divine collective of both masculine and feminine, and the two together are required. So as we journey through life, we'll find moments where we might be more emotional, and other moments when we might be stronger and feel more directed. But the truth is that we are divine beings, and our beginnings happened in a way that allows us to honor and respect what we are, who we are, and where we're headed. And as we come into balance with our lives and begin to walk this spiritual path, we start to create something that is really, really remarkable. Our world today is struggling a little bit, and we can be sometimes pulled to, try to make it better, and let's pray for our world to be better. The challenge with that is that if I'm praying for my world to be fixed, what I'm doing inside is believing my world is broken. What we want to do here in Unity is to acknowledge that what is, that everything that's going on is in some way, somehow taking us somewhere. And if we can drop our consciousness from this place of something being broken or flawed and move into a place of, I don't necessarily see the wholeness, but I know it must be there, because what we teach is there is only one thing, this divine presence, this infinite universe, God, if you want to call it that. But whatever we call it, it's something we cannot know, we cannot fully understand or comprehend. So if we can allow ourselves to simply be present, what we soon discover is that everything is unfolding. Now, I don't know about you, but I've had experiences in my life that I call bad, 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 terrible, awful. Anybody else? But in retrospect, when I look back 10 years, 20 years, sometimes 2 weeks, what I realize is whatever was going on actually took me someplace I needed to be. actually allowed me to heal some aspect within me where I was feeling separate or less than. It allowed me to open up to a way of loving myself much bigger and brighter. And that has made a huge difference in my life. And my journey has been, well, it's been, somebody suggested I should run for federal office. And I thought, whoa, all my history would come up for sure. And I was like, I don't know if anybody vote for me. You know, they're seeing this person who's like real, having had a life that, well, we won't talk about it here. But what I want to say is that as we journey along and as we acknowledge our humanity and our divinity, the two are one. The two are one. And we might even think of the masculine as the humanity and the feminine as the divinity, but the two are required. You see, we're not here to just be spiritual. We're here to live. We're here to experience the fullness of life because this infinite intelligence that is the essence of all life, that intelligence is seeking to experience. And it does it through each one of us. Now, there's about 8 billion of us on the planet. And the cool thing about that is there's 8 billion unique ways of being on this planet. Now, every single one is of value. Now, sometimes we forget that, right? We think, oh, I'm not enough. I'm here to tell you, you are. In fact, you are so enough that without you, we could not experience life in the way that we're experiencing it now. It is absolutely essential for each one of us to be there and to acknowledge and be, you know, that true calling that Janice Stanfield just sang about. That true calling is for us to find ourselves and then give that to the world. When we embrace both the masculine, feminine, the human and the divine, when we bring those two elements together in respect and love and admiration, what happens is we show up in the world in a way that's really powerful. And it makes a difference. One of the ministers at convention talked about her journey through cancer and videotaped the whole thing, created a documentary on her experience. And she stood up in her congregation right before starting chemo to say, you know, I have stage 3 colon cancer, and I begin my treatments on Tuesday, my chemotherapy. And I want to talk to you about this because we're going to walk it together. And she went through the chemo, all the stuff, losing her hair, all those things. And as she did it with grace. She did it by honoring the humanness that she was experiencing, but doing it with a true sense of the divine that was always with her. As a result of that, her congregation actually was deeply blessed by her honesty. Sometimes, as ministers, we want to hide the human part of us so we can seem somehow special. And it's really a mistake because we're human. We make mistakes. We show up in ways that we might regret on occasion. But the truth is that something about that is absolutely perfect. So we come to the idea of what is. Who I am is enough, is sufficient. In fact, who I am is unique and special. That what I bring to planet Earth today, only I can bring it in the way that I do. And it is the same for each and every one of you. So we begin to look at the world from a new vantage point. I ran across something at convention that I thought was wonderful, and it's called Folks with Faith. And I don't know if you can read that, Folks with Faith. And it is an LGBTQ plus group that they said, treat everyone you meet like God in drag. That's cheeky and I love it. But there's this idea that somehow spirituality is supposed to be, you know, this, I don't know, this perfect little something. Spirituality is our embracing our humanity and living in a state of wholeness. And that means doing whatever it takes to show up in our best possible light. And you know that your best changes day by day, right? You know, if you're really tired, your best might be about here. But if you've just, you know, fallen in love, your best might be way up here, right? One isn't better than the other. It's just life. We're here to navigate the bumps in the road. We're here to express the joy that's within us, the sorrow that's within us. All of it is part of this infinite creative intelligence. And as we begin to embrace it all and to acknowledge that we are enough, that we've been created in the image and of the likeness. In the image and of the likeness. Now, that does not mean that God is 5'2" with purple hair and tattoos. What it means is this divine energy is the only thing that exists, and it moves in and out of being through these vehicles, which are our human bodies. But it's also the computer, the airwaves, the air we breathe. It's everything. So this energy, this intelligence, this whatever you want to call it, because we can't know it. You know, in the Tao, it talks about the unknowable, and anybody who tells you they know it, well, run, because they don't, they can't. It's not possible to know the infinite, whatever this thing is. And I know we try to define it and we try to make it human like us, and it is not. It is the all in the all. And what we want to do is come to a place of going, all of it is good. So I have a screensaver that says, I am grateful for everything in my life. What that means is I'm grateful for what I would call good days, and I'm grateful for what I call bad days. You know, Cheryl and I were supposed to fly out on Friday to go to Kansas, and our flights were canceled. After we cleared customs, after we'd sat at our gate for a bit, we were having a little bite to eat, and your flight's been canceled. Yay, Air Canada. That wasn't our first thought. But it was like, when are you rebooking us? Well, they weren't for a long time. You'll get an email back when we rebook you. And we didn't, and we didn't, and we didn't. And lovely Cheryl spent about 9 hours on the phone to finally get us rebooked for the next day to fly to Kansas. The energy that was shared at that time was remarkable, because Cheryl was about 9 hours on the phone trying to get everything handled. And in all of that time, there was just this energy of, well, it is what it is. And there was no upset, anger, frustration. We found the right people to help us, because just try to get back into customs when your flight's been canceled, because they won't let you into that secure area from the gates. So you have to get permission and get somebody to help you. But all of these things happened. Our husbands came and picked us up, took us back home, and then we came back in the morning and flew via Denver. But we got there. We got there, and we had an experience of being with the people that, you know, think kind of the way we think, or some of them think the way we think, but we got to be with a group of people that are really remarkable. And we got to hear things that we agreed with and things we disagreed with, and all of it was perfect. Even them not having vegan food for the vegan in the room, right? But all of it was just what it was. And it's an opportunity to see each of us, even today, trying to get on this call and finding that the link wasn't bringing you here. It was taking you somewhere else, which sort of seemed like it was a link, but nobody else was there. All of these things that happen in life are an opportunity for us to reflect on what it is we believe about ourselves and what it is we believe about the world that we live in. And we can come back to that divine beginning where we acknowledge that everything is spiritual and everything, and our experience is a human one. And together the two create the whole. It's like the yin yang symbol with the light and the dark. You know how there's parts of you that you don't like and you think you should hide away because you were trained to think they were bad and wrong. And then there's parts of you that you totally love because those are the parts you show everybody. It's up to us now to bring those two together, to recognize that the darkness that we have perceived as bad or wrong is in fact the very thing that illuminates the light that we are. It is the thing that is necessary to bring us back to that divine beginning, to that true whole place, and to let go of the stories we were told by well-meaning people, by the way, right? Parents are going, no, no, don't do that. That's bad. That's wrong. Don't do this. Don't do that. We get all of this information as we're growing up, and we start to shut down our light so we can be acceptable to the powers that be around us, whether it's teachers, siblings, parents, extended family, friends, neighbors, whoever. We're getting messages. And what's happened is we have allowed this veil to be dropped over us, and we get the message that somehow we're not enough. Somehow we're bad and wrong. So we want to take all of that off. We want to take all of that off and go back to the divine beginning, that place of absolute wholeness, that place of knowing exactly who I am. You watch a little child, man, they just scream for their needs to be met. You meet a person of a certain age and they just give in and give up. We want to stop doing that. We want to learn how to say no when we mean no. No is a complete sentence. It does not require qualification, just like yes is a complete sentence. You know how we never qualify the yes, but we qualify the no? We should stop that. Well, I'm working on stopping it, let's just say. We want to come back to the truth. All of these stories we've been told, all of the ways that has been suggested that we are bad and wrong, all of that are projections from the people around us based on what they believe to be true. It has nothing to do with capital T truth. Capital T truth is you are unique and special, perfect, whole, and complete. You were created to allow that divine energy to express as you. And the way you're created is absolutely perfect. Your behavior may not represent that, but that only comes because of our fear and our doubt and our belief that what I was told as a child was actually accurate. We want to shift that, begin to come back to that place of, wow, I am truly a divine, glorious being. Breathe that in. I am a divine, glorious being. When we come to that place, we can now show up where we can love each other, because really hurt people hurt people. If we're in a place of absolute love and acceptance of ourselves, more likely we will be loving and accepting of others. We may not always agree with their behavior or the way they do things, but at the core, we will see their divinity. We sometimes hear the phrase namaste. Namaste is the divine in me greets the divine in you. I see you. And this is where we want to come from, but it begins by seeing ourselves first, seeing who we are, honoring who we are, being who we are. So I was raised to believe sex, bad, dirty, wrong, awful, terrible. Anybody else have that background, that upbringing? Yeah. And so what I would think about was bad and wrong. What I believed about life and what was acceptable, bad and wrong. And what I've come to understand is all of that was, well, it was the truth of the day, I guess. But the truth is, I'm a queer woman living a heterosexual life. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. But I wonder what my life would have been like had I been able to honor what I really believed as a young person. That was not allowed. That wasn't even a thing, and I couldn't even fathom it. So I've been married 5 times. I wonder why. But I'm married now to the love of my life, a beautiful man that I've been married to now for 21 years, and we have a glorious life together. The journey that we go through, I really believe that each one of us, as we find our true self, we're then able to be in life in a much more honest way, a much more respectful way, a more truthful way. And as we do that, that's when we create harmony, not just for ourselves, but for the world around us. We find harmony when we come to peace with who I am and where I am. Each one of us, as we do that, we create a world that actually works for the highest and best good of all. We become more respectful and kind, compassionate, honoring of each other. We've all been on a journey. We've all been told stories. We've all experienced life in ways that have often hurt us, diminished us, disrespected us. But we have a choice right now to not do that to ourselves. To go, I am a divine creative being, and the way I'm created is perfect, whole, and complete. I'm unique and special like everybody else. To honor that, to love that, to respect that. And, you know, we sing in Unity and New Thought teachings and actually regular churches all over the place. We sing, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. And we don't. It's like it's a little kid's song. It doesn't mean anything. I'm here to tell you it means everything. You are created perfect, whole, and complete. You are unique and special, and you're here to give yourself to the world. So I invite you now to take a breath. And let's just go within. And if you feel comfortable, close your eyes. And taking another deep breath. And just simply be. Be in this space. Just acknowledging your life. The all of it. Acknowledging the little child you were at 2 and 4 and 6. And bringing that wee child into your heart space. And reminding them that they are good. Reminding them that they're beautiful. And reminding them that they are loved. That there's a glorious yes, my beloved. Yes, my beloved. You are everything. Everything beautiful and brilliant and sweet. And taking another deep breath in. And sitting with that beloved self. And as you hold that wee child in your heart space, just say, I love you, I love you, I love you. Accept, I love, I embrace. Every aspect of being is respected, admired, and cherished. Taking another deep breath in. As you breathe out, just allow yourself to bring your awareness back to this service, back to this moment, and acknowledging that all is well. And so it